What are your essential tools for good gaming? This has the potential to be the shortest answer for all the questions of the month. Because very simply, I need a couple of friends and the spark of imagination. Everything else is trappings. There you go. Less than 40 seconds, and this one could be in the books and be a done deal. But let's talk a little bit about tools. Everybody has different tools. Players, different from game masters. One-shots versus campaigns. It depends on the game system, whether you're gaming at home or at another site. So many different things that you could consider essential if you wanted to. So I will talk about some of those less essential essentials. Most role-playing games I play require dice. You've got your now standard polyhedral dice, the D4, 6, 8, 10, percentile 10 if you're into that one, 12, and a 20. I have a rant on the percentile 10, but I'll probably reserve that for another video. I keep about 8 full sets of polyhedral dice, not counting percentile 10s, in my dice box. I have a few additional D6s because I like to have a selection of dice to use for wild dice when I'm playing or running Savage Worlds. I also have a set of fate dice / fudge dice that I keep in my box. I keep a pencil, a pen, a dry erase marker, and a Sharpie in my box. Additional lead and erasers for the mechanical pencil. And that box goes with me to just about every game that I play. So that's Essentials Level 2. As a game master, I like to have index cards, 2 sizes, 4x6 and 3x5. I use the 4x6s for occasionally for notes, usually for table tents, so that everybody can keep the character names in mind. I like to have everybody using character names once play begins, because I think that helps keeping people focused. 3x5 cards are for quick scene notations, or if I'm playing Fate, I will use them for aspects. The Sharpies are for writing on the, there will be Sharpies, additional Sharpies in different colors for writing on the index cards. I have several options for gaming surfaces, for mapping. Most of those use dry erase. In fact, I don't currently own anything that requires wet erase markers. I've got some pre-made maps. I've got some flip mats. I've got a Hexer's board. Thank you for pointing that out, Stacy, if you watch this. I've got the original tactiles. All these things allow the use of dry erase markers, which I prefer. It's bad enough finding a paper towel. Having to find a wet one is a pain. So as soon as I was able to go away from wet erase, I did. I am not a minis painter, so I do keep a selection of like pre-painted old Star Wars and D&D miniatures. Not a lot, few. I typically use figure flats that I make myself when I am in a mode where I'm using miniatures, which isn't often. So, what is essential? It's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of things that you can use. In a game that uses in-game currency, I've got all kinds of things. I've got those little translucent, pointy rock-looking stones that you can get in pet stores. I've got, I used to call them Pente stones, but they're gaming stones you can get now from Chessex. I have poker chips. For many games, use playing cards. I have quite a selection of playing cards because of Savage Worlds. Not quite the selection Christian Serrano has, but I do have quite a few playing cards. For Savage Worlds, they have cool tokens for different conditions in the game, like shaken and wounded and fatigue and all that sort of thing. I make my own Fate chips for my Savage Worlds games where I don't already have, I should say Fate chips, I should say bennies. For games that don't already have bennies designed for them, usually using blank poker chips. Those are fun. There's all kinds of tools, but are they essential? You can skip tokens for things like fate points or bennies and just jot down numbers. Though I have to admit, I really do prefer having a physical representation. It's easier to remember that they are available to you if you have a physical thing. Savage Worlds probably shouldn't be played without playing cards. I mean, you could roll for initiative in some way, but I think the cards are a true feature. Not to mention, there are two, depending on the setting, 2 or more edges. Actually, in the core book, I'd say there's 5 edges, specifically dependent on playing cards, because a couple can modify initiative and a couple trigger off of jokers being drawn. I think there's 5. I could be wrong by that number. Anyway, essential tools. The quick answer, I'll recap, is people to play with and the spark of imagination. And everything else is gravy. Until tomorrow, do good, avoid evil, and play more games.